There we go. Jeez.
Floor.
Wow. And then what did this say? It said what? It said floor. The ghost box said floor. My microphone wasn't working. And we're back. What the hell, huh? Floor. I don't know. I guess my microphone was on the floor. The audio level was low. I don't know. I don't know if it's relevant or not, but it is kind of timely that that went off at the same time. I got my mic working. I had to restart my whole board over here. So I don't know. That's really strange. But anyway, welcome everybody to the Paranormal Portal. Happy girl. How you doing? Rachel gets it right. Maggie M10, Wizard Moon. Conrail fan is here. Annie Manuel. And I know Tommy Cooper's in here. He stopped watching Black Sabbath concert for the Portal, so you gotta love that. Cat Doherty's here, and Kitty Cattywhack is here. I'm just going up. Rachel gets it right. I think that's most everybody that's talking so far. Batman is in here. Good to see you. I appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else at Wizard Moon, of course. I don't know if I said Wizard Moon yet or not, but just Larry and Shirley Bell was the first one in the door tonight. Karen Alberding, good to see all of you. Grateful Owl, of course, is in here as well. Great to see you as well. So I think, even though we got a little bit late start, hope you had a great trip. I did, Conrail fan. Thank you. Phenomicon was absolutely epic. It was truly an incredible journey. I'm just thrilled to have been there and been a part of it. It was a busy journey, though. It's incredibly busy. It's a 4-day event, so it's really a marathon, but I don't regret it at all. I don't regret a thing. Even the 14-hour drive to get there, or 13 and a half, 13-ish, when you factor in all the stops and gassing up and breaks, it gets to be about 13 and a half, 14 hours. So it was wonderful at any rate, and I'm back. And we got a lot of show to do. So hope you guys are having a great weekend. Thank you so much, of course, for spending a part of it here with me on Fridays and Saturdays. Chucky, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. We'll be getting to, speaking of Chucky Danger, we'll be getting to the question of the week tonight, which is Chucky's thing. Chucky is championing the question of the week. So on our Discord server, if you're not already a member over there, get to be a member. The link is in the description. If you want to look at the show description, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, it's in there. It's on both of them, but just invite yourself because the door's open. We're happy to have anybody there. Just be respectful, obviously. We don't want any shenanigans. Bleed for the art. Who's bleeding? Hi, Deborah Neighbors. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Eric Fry came in. Good to see you, Eric. I don't see anybody over in Rumble. Rumble's awful quiet. I don't know what's going on over there. But hello to all of you guys over on Rumble. If you're watching, just kicking back, watching or whatever. And hello to all the Twitch people. If there's any, I don't know. But we're streaming there anyway. It's an option. So you can either check out the live streams on YouTube or Rumble or Twitch, and maybe more coming soon. I haven't integrated any more, but I was thinking about potentially some Twitter X stuff and maybe even Facebook, but I used to try to stream to Facebook, but it was just so cumbersome to set up every stream because there's no quick and easy way to do it. It's just very manual every time. And maybe I just never got good at it. Maybe I should give it another shot. But at any rate, I'm streaming everywhere that I can. Hi, Maggie's over there on Rumble as well. Maggie, you are a machine you guys are so amazing. I got to admit, and I say this all the time, but it is truly absolutely incredible to me that you guys continually show up to hear, these shows. That's just an incredibly flattering thing. And I am very much in your debt for doing that. Thank you so much. And I hope to always provide content that keeps you guys coming back. I mean, that's just such an important part of all of this. You know, of course, we do the podcasts, and the podcasts are wonderful, and I love those. And we have a lot of great listeners. There's one here and one to my left. Oh, they're surrounding me. But it is very incredible. We like you, Tommy says. Oh, Tommy, I love you too, brother. And speaking of Tommy Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't hear last night, but the next podcast episode will be Tommy Cooper and Jason Trost of Cryptovania, who talked to me about some of the strangeness in their neck of the woods. And there's no shortage of strangeness in their neck of the woods. So they know Brent is back. Yeah, I guess so. I guess they're stopping in. But anyway, check out that podcast. It'll be released on Monday. Actually, late Sunday night for me, but you'll find it on Monday on all the streaming platforms or all the podcasting platforms. So check it out. That'll be great. Ghosts are being active on the 14th. They are. Yeah, Rachel. I don't know. But maybe they just like the new deal. Did you guys see the new additions to the studio, or did you guys notice? I'm just curious because I put up new additions kind of regularly, well, in spurts. But I put up a couple new additions, and I'm just curious if you guys saw them yet. If not, it's okay. But you have to let me know if you saw anything. Hey, John Temperin, good to see you. As always, we got a busy show. We got 2 full hours of the Paranormal Portal, and in it, I'm going to try to smash in all of the paranormal goodness I can pack into this episode. So we are going to do the news shortly. Then we're going to do the Discord question of the week, where we'll discuss what the question is and what you guys say about it. And then we'll get to the cryptids and anything else we want to. There's the green faces. Well, this is actually been here for a while now. This is, it's actually a friend of mine, Josh, and his girlfriend, Jackie, fiance, I guess. They do these, I don't know, curious creations. I'm trying to remember the name because I'm terrible with names, but they are amazing people. And I stayed with them when I went to the conference at Pocatello. Well, this is actually an x-ray of somebody's skull. They buy all kinds of curiosity stuff and they make these things like this. And, that's some random person's skull. An actual x-ray. And Josh made the light box behind it, and it's awesome. So that's been up here for a while, but that is one of the newer things. Hanging Bigfoot, I don't know, the one up here, that one's been here for a long time. That's a sticker from SasquatchPrints.com. That's my friend Brandon Tennant, who runs and operates that. And he also puts on the Pocatello conference. So, but that's been here a little bit, if that's the one you're talking about. But just let me know. I'll keep watching. Just keep watching the chat as I can. I don't know. I mean, it's just little stuff. I'm rubbish at this game. It's okay, Maggie. It's not a contest. Oh, Maggie says, you have such a great show and podcast. I just hope it blows up one day and you get the recognition you deserve. Oh, that's very sweet. Maggie said that over on Rumble. That's sweet. I appreciate that, Maggie. I mean, yeah, I love that you guys give me the recognition that you do already. I mean, it's already a huge success in that regard because we got this amazing community. If it gets bigger, fantastic. If it doesn't, okay. I still love doing it. I'll continue to do it. You read fast. Are you talking to me, Tommy? I don't know. I try sometimes, but sometimes I'm rather sluggish. But anyway, have those screwing up my show. I have nothing to do with the ads that pop up. So anyway, we're going to get to all that as soon as we can. And I guess we'll start with the news. If you guys are ready to be informed, we'll bring you up to speed as best as I can. Some kind of werewolf beast or toy box for a figure under the green face. Nope, that's not it. Do you want me just to tell you? I don't know. They're more subtle things, but they're actually 2 lights that were added to the display behind me. So I'll leave it there. You see 2 new lights that maybe you didn't see before? That's them. The Skull and Bigfoot figurine are new. This is a 3D print that we've had for a while. It was sent in by a listener to the P.O. box. Okay, it's this lantern here that's hanging. I got it from Temu. It's like multicolored stained glass kind of thing when I got LED lights in it that I put. And then another one right over here. So those are the 2 new additions to the display behind me. There you go. Yep. There it is. No, it's okay. It's not a contest. It's just for fun. I'm just curious if you guys notice or not. All right. So anyway, let's get to the news, and I'll try to bring you up to speed and teach you maybe something you don't know. Let's find out if you know all that I'm going to cover. So again, throughout the course of the show, we utilize a lot of different sites. Please support these sites. These sites are amazingly well done, and I just can't help but hope that you guys will continue to frequent them, even when the shows aren't going on. These are great repositories for amazing information, especially if you're into this stuff. I guarantee every one of these sites you're going to find something that you didn't see before, and they all have amazing stuff on them. Yeah. I was right about the lantern. Missed the smaller one. Yeah. That's okay. That's great. Good job, Karen. Okay. It's not just a contest. We know it's not a contest, just being silly. Yeah, you know. But it is fun. I don't know. It's just kind of a curiosity. I like putting up new things every once in a while just to see if anybody goes, hey. All right. So are you ready? I'm going dark. Got sticky ribs to eat. All right, Chucky, go ahead and eat those ribs, but stick around, brother, because we're going to be hitting your question of the week in short order here. Short order, get it, ribs? Totally unintentional, but that's how my brain works. All right, let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by the letters O, M, and G. Here we go. Rachel did a play on words. It's not bon appetit. It's bone appetit. That's clever. Very clever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the news desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, here on the Paranormal Portal News, and we're going to dive into some articles that I hope you find at least interesting. I can't say that they're, oftentimes paranormal at all, but they're interesting, I think. And since I'm the one scraping these things up, you get to deal with whatever I find interesting. So hopefully I'm right. Hopefully you guys like these. But let's get into the first article, and this is presented by a site that we know and love very well here on the Paranormal Portal, and this is unexplained-mysteries.com. And again, I just love this site. It's so well done. They are just so current and on the pulse of the information out there. So at least as far as I know, because I don't watch any news or anything. So it's always seemed current to me. But I'm sure that it absolutely is. So the first one tonight has to do with the UFO phenomena. So this definitely is paranormal. Let's dive into this one. It says from unexplained-mysteries.com, researcher captures UFO selfie during Brazil encounter. Oh, wow. Now it looks like he has to be using a flash though, right? So when you see these lights on the bottom here, could that just be refraction from his own flash? Like somebody might have, I mean, I don't mean to debunk or try to debunk, but I mean, you got to look at this stuff, right? He's clearly using a flash. So you do see these light dots on here that could be refracted from the sphere. If it was a metallic kind of sphere or something, this wouldn't be hard to fake. I'm just going to say that, hell, if you got something like this is, I forget, this is, What the hell kind of rock is this? I don't know. It's a crystal, but it's supposed to be promoting healing. I can't remember if it's like gypsum or something like that. But anyway, it'd be about this size. You could just lob it over the guy's head and take the picture right on time, and you got an orb. So things like this are hard to substantiate or quantify, really, but it could be legit. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just, wow. I mean, it can't be that far from him if it's picking up that flash from what I assume is like a handheld camera or cell phone. But anyway, let's check it out. The image is part of a series of photographs taken of a strange illuminated sphere-shaped object spotted over the country. Where was this? Brazil, yeah. News Okay, welcome to the show. News outlets this week have picked up on the case of Eddie Mireles. Mireles? I don't know how to pronounce that for sure. Sorry, Eddie. I'm brutalizing your name. A UFO researcher and author who in 2011 claimed to have photographed a spherical object in the sky over Brazil. The images, which were later posted up by Mireles on social media, were snapped on a hiking trail on the way to a remote waterfall in Chapada Diamantina National Park. In one image, the object, which appears dark in color but with several lights around its lower half, can be seen over Eddie's shoulder, while in another it can be seen on its own in the sky. The case has even become associated with an alleged military presence in the area, with Eddie himself reportedly being threatened and even interrogated as a result of what he'd witnessed. During one incident that he recalled back in 2016, he claims to have suffered multiple injuries, including fractured ribs and a perforated lung that had seen him end up in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. I think Eddie might have tripped on his hiking. But anyway, I'm just saying. I was hospitalized for 12 days at the Chapada Regional Hospital in Cibraba. My medical history is there for anyone who wants to investigate, he said at the time. Well, yeah, I don't think anybody's doubting you got hurt. But how'd you get hurt? He's also credited with writing a Reddit post about one of his encounters with a UFO. I got out of the car and photographed, he wrote. It was an indescribable, wonderful emotion to have photographed a UFO so clearly visible. About 40 minutes later, still on the road, my car turned off. I braked and tried to turn the key, and nothing, absolutely nothing. I saw a light on the hood, and I looked up, and there was a UFO standing on top of my car. I don't know what to think of this. Well, how does a UFO stand on the top of your car? I opened the door and ran, and even stopped to take a selfie with them. Really? See, I don't know how you get that. I opened the door, ran, terrified, but then had the presence of mind to get a selfie. I mean, does that logically make sense? See, that doesn't make sense to me. Not that I'm attacking the guy. I don't know the guy. But in this narrative, that leaves a lot to be understood. You don't just, hey, I'm fleeing my car. Oh, wait. Let's do a selfie. It's like, how did you get there? How did you get to the selfie part? I don't know. As things stand, both Eddie's photographs and stories remain a topic of controversy and debate, with some believing that his encounters are genuine and others dismissing the whole thing as little more than a hoax. Okay, gut feeling, folks. Gut feeling. I'm kind of on the hoax side myself. I don't know. This is, I was this just floating there? And look at that face. It's like a thumbnail for YouTube. I do them. I know. I know the pose. You're supposed to look scared, like, that's kind of the idea. So I don't know. This to me just is awash with what the hell. I mean, it could be on a fishing line, just being dangled from a fishing pole somewhere behind him on a metallic sphere. That would reflect. I mean, it's even so look at the light that's on his face. It's a very golden kind of light. It's not the washed out, really, really powerful flash. So it's definitely probably with a cell phone. And the light on the orb also has that kind of golden yellowy hue. So I think this is a reflective ball that was just suspended to behind him, and there he goes. I mean, I don't doubt the guy took a spill while he's hiking and probably did get pretty hurt, and that's not good. But I also know that the tough part about this is that clearly this is a notoriety thing for the guy because he's a UFO researcher. And how do you get people interested in what you're doing? You got to put out these fantastical claims, so I don't know. I'm just not really on board with this being legitimate, but I don't mean to think for anyone else. I'm just speaking my own because I got the mic. So, but you be the judge. You be the judge. Do you think Eddie's legitimate, or do you think he's just farming for some media attention? What are your thoughts? Let me look at the chats. That face doesn't look like real fear. It's the eyes. Yeah, exactly. It looks like a pose. I agree, Annie. Looks a little bit like a Chinese lantern to me, maybe just with more one than one flame. Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be that too. Who knows? Yeah, I think that's, I think we're all on largely the same page. Clickbait, Elaine says, yeah, it's a Simpson family member. Looks kind of yellow, doesn't he? Definitely needs more sunlight. He looks a little jaundiced for sure. But yeah, looks staged for sure. Wizard Moon says, yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. I got the same gut feeling, Rachel. I don't buy it. I think it's just, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of an orgy of evidence. It's like, if you're seeing an orb and it's right there, are you going to think to go, wait, let me get myself in this shot? I just don't see it. And then the story of fleeing from the car. I fled from my car because it was standing on my car. And then he has the presence of mind to stop and do a quick selfie. It's like, yeah, it doesn't wash for me. I just don't think that's how it works. When you're in an adrenalized, yes, Karen says his liver is failing. Yeah, so is his logic. And it's a lot of things failing for Eddie in my mind. But what can I say? I just think takes notes, orgy of evidence. It's not the good kind. I'm sorry. I'm not really a pig. But I play one on the internet, so. All right, let's get to the next one because there's always more. In fact, I got 3 more. So let's get to the next news story here on the portal and find out just what's next. Again, I don't present those things because I'm trying to give that kind of stuff any traction, but I think those are opportunities to look at it critically and just say, no, I think this guy's full of crap. Yeah, I don't buy into it. And I really don't respect. Granted, I can't for sure judge the guy, but I don't respect people trying to get some hype or traction for their brand off of staging stuff. And I think that's staged. Obviously it's not just me. Many of you are all on the same page, but honest to God, I think that's an important mindset to have when you're looking at evidence, is you got to look at it critically. You got to look at it like, this doesn't add up. If I'm afraid, it's like there was a picture that was doing the rounds somewhere. I was in a group that I'm in on Facebook, and there's this big Bigfoot right behind this guy, and the guy's not looking at the Bigfoot. He's going like this and pointing, doing a selfie, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that's real. There's no way in hell somebody's just stopping, saw this huge Bigfoot come out of the brush and say, like, hey, let's get a selfie. There's no way. And some people are like, well, this might be real. And there's some bogus backstory. And I'm like, yeah, that's about as real as a snowball's chance in hell. There's no way in hell somebody just decided, and it's all perfectly framed and it's in the shot. It's like, no way. Did somebody just encounter an 8+ foot hairy creature that really looks pissed, and they had the presence of mind to grab a selfie? It's like, I don't buy it. No way in hell. So I don't know, but that stuff does the rounds, and I think it's important to address it and just say, hey, this is, I mean, you don't have to say, oh, this is definitely a hoax or be rude about it, but just be factual. It's like, how in the hell did somebody get to the point where they're like, let's grab a selfie quick when you're afraid for your life, allegedly? Nah, it doesn't wash for me. All right, well, we got more news, so let's get to that. We got more. Smacking my lips. All right, here we go. From unexplained-mysteries.com comes the next one. This one comes from the World of the Bizarre, their segment on some strange stories. And here it is. Drunk worms and pigeon missiles head up the Ig Nobel Prize winners. I've never heard of the Ig Nobel Prize winners before, but it's obviously some bizarre things. Kind of maybe what the Darwin Awards kind of were before, except that was people just being idiots and getting hurt and possibly more. But this sounds like another play on that. The annual prize given out to research projects that first make people laugh and then make them think. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's new. A parody of the better known and more prestigious Nobel Prize, the Ig Nobel Prize seeks to offer recognition to those who have contributed to the world of science in more unusual ways. Look at that picture. Somebody is gulping olive oil. All right. It says the winners are typically those who have engaged in research into strange, bizarre, and often ludicrous ideas and concepts, and this year's recipients are no exception. 2024's winning projects include the discovery that mammals, such as rats and mice, can breathe through their anuses. What the hell? How? They got lung tissue in their colon or what? And God, why would you want that? All right, let's see how this plays out. A find that could help develop new ways to treat respiratory failure. I'm sorry, I don't care how bad my lungs get, but I'm not voting for breathing out of my ass. That's just not going to be on the treatment plan. Well, we could hook up a hose through your ass and you could breathe more that way. Nope, I'm done. I'm done. Just start putting the dirt on. It's over. Elsewhere, late U.S. psychologist B.F. Skinner was honored for his research into using live pigeons housed inside missiles to guide them to their targets. Oh my God. While an international team won the Botany Prize for demonstrating that a particular species of plant placed next to a fake one will mimic its plastic leaves. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The Medicine Prize was awarded to a group in Switzerland, Germany, and Belgium who managed to demonstrate the extremely peculiar concept that fake medicine with painful side effects can be more effective in patients than fake medicine with no painful side effects. Oh, great. They're going to give us placebos that suck. That's not good. Meanwhile, a team from Amsterdam developed a technique using chromatography to separate drunk worms from sober worms. An interesting, though totally pointless accomplishment. This is funded research, too. This is the scary part. It's like, what does that accomplish exactly? There was also a prize for albeit more useful study into the fact that data regarding cases of extreme old age tend to be highly questionable, often originating in countries where life expectancy is lower and proper records such as birth and death certificates are unreliable. Extreme old age records are a statistical basket case, said study author Dr. Saul Newman from the University of Oxford. From the level of individual cases up to broad population patterns, virtually none of our old age data makes sense. Arguably, though, very few of the studies that won Ig Nobel Prizes this year make much sense either. Well, there you go. These people are getting money to do this. So I guess the takeaway is you just got to come up with a dumb enough idea and then just look for funding. Anything is possible. How'd you like to breathe through your anus, though? I mean, come on. What the hell? I'm done. I'm done at that point. Your tax dollars at work. Yeah, there you go. I mean, some of it's international, so it's their tax dollars, but thank God. Thank God we're not funding all of that crap, but there's enough of it here to quantify plenty of wasteful spending. There's no doubt, but we got more. That was enough of that one. So that was a little strange and unusual, but anyway, explains the anal core cows. Maybe. What do turtles do? Tommy said turtles do it. I just sent money to the Heart Association. Better use of funds. Yeah, probably. Unless they're funding stupid crap too. I don't know. I'd try it once. What would you try once, Maggie? I hope you don't mean breathing out of your anus. Well, there you go. All right, let's continue. That was disturbing a little bit and surprising as well. Always, it's always something taken away on the news here, right? I mean, there's merit to this segment. You're leaving these segments with something. And it might not be something you wanted, but you got it anyway, so you're welcome. All right, here we go. Back to the UFO phenomena files of unexplained-mysteries.com. All right, former UFO boss Jay Stratton to break silence in upcoming memoir. Ooh. Well, the curiosity will be, does the memoir actually get published? Where is it? Will it actually get published, or will there be an accident or some weird data breach? Anyway, let's see what it says. The former head of the Pentagon's UFO task force has provided details of what will be in his new book. Stratton, who previously headed up the U.S. government's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, has led investigators into the subject of UFOs and alien visitation for over 16 years. Among the cases he was involved in was that of the famous Tic Tac UFO encountered by the U.S. Navy fighter pilots attached to the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group back in 2004. And when it was announced that he would be revealing the inside story of his work on the phenomena in a new memoir, therefore, those with a keen interest in the subject were quick to take note. We're at the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, he said. The process of disclosure is complex, but it has begun. The official press release notes that while much of his work remains classified, the memoir would nonetheless be revealing. All that can be lawfully disclosed, there's the disclaimer right there, providing a first-hand account of the shocking discoveries, challenges, and breakthroughs that have marked the U.S. government's investigation and understanding of UAP and non-human intelligence, as well as the effects on Stratton and his family. According to the release, Stratton is actually the highest-ranking U.S. government official to date who has chosen to step forward and reveal what has been going on behind the scenes, but no actual date for the publishing of his memoir, however, has yet been provided. There you go. I bet you it's got to be screened and probably redacted and rewritten and rescreened and redacted and rewritten. And it'll probably be about as informative as a cereal box by the time it comes out, but you never know. That'd be maybe really fun mazes to do. I don't know. But, anytime you enter the discussion of disclosure, it's going to be like Good Morning Vietnam, the news segment where he gets the news and it's just like mostly black lines. It's like, oh God. Yeah, that's about what I expect. I mean, it's cool. I appreciate that that's his effort. And, he's kind of made a name for himself. So I guess strike while the iron's hot in a sense too. But I'm sure he does have incredible knowledge of this stuff from an insider's perspective. But what is he going to be allowed to share? I mean, really. So as much as we can hope, I don't think we're probably going to hear a whole lot other than, well, I was eating cereal when I got the report of the Tic Tac, and my God, I rushed to the office. And it'll be this narrative of what his life was like going through it. And I'm not casting aspersions or meaning to pick on the guy, but unfortunately, he's probably pretty well shackled in lots of legalities and such that he just won't be able to bring anything really, the iron is hot kind of thing. It'll be more lukewarm, I'm sure. So anyway, that's that story. It's cool. Maybe we'll all be surprised. I don't know. Maybe there's ways around it. Maybe there's loopholes. Oh, Chucky. Chucky remembered. God bless you, Chucky. Appreciate it. Appreciated bunches. I think it's too dark. Do you think it's too dark now? I should maybe raise the room light a little more. I don't know. I've been working on color balancing this camera and it's quite a bit different. So anyway, let me know. Don't get me started. Shelley Montgomery says, UFOs are seen, Larry and Shirley Bell says, UFOs are seen in a lot in our area. I think it may have something to do with two places like Dugway. That's not too far from here, or from us, as it is known as Area 52, and the Thule Army Depot, not far from here as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have probably got a whole bunch going on in your neck of the woods. No doubt about it. All right. Let's continue on. I got one more for you. Buckle up. Here it comes. As I drag over this new tab. And this one is Creatures, Myths, and Legends from unexplained-mysteries.com. And let's dive into this. Find out just what's going on here. What's going on here? Rick Wagerson came in. Good to see you, Rick. Hold on. There we go. 2 mountain hikers photograph mysterious humanoid in Colorado. Oh, I guess that's a picture. It must be pretty exceptionally zoomed in, but that's wild. The human-like shape was spotted far up a cliffside in Long Peak's Rocky Mountains National Park. When James Clausen and Camille Avarella, I don't know how to pronounce that for sure, took dozens of photographs while trekking through the Rocky Mountains on a recent trip, the last thing they expected was to end up on the local news. But that's exactly what happened, however, when they got home and started looking through their photos. In one of their images, they spotted a peculiar figure that seemed to be climbing up one of the rock faces. Based on the scale, it seemed to be around 20 feet tall and had elongated arms and legs. Let's take another look at that. Yeah, it does look like a really long leg. I don't know about the arms so much, but from this angle, it's hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, if it's 20 feet tall, my God, that's enormous. Keen to find answers, they posted the image on a Facebook group for second opinions. And it wasn't long before a journalist had picked up the story, and before they knew it, the photograph, along with the story of how they captured it, was being featured on the news. So what exactly was it that they captured on camera? In reality, the humanoid is most likely a case of pareidolia, the brain's innate ability to perceive meaningful shapes and abstract patterns. In this case, the shape of a figure is likely the result of a change in rock formation illuminated by the sun. You can check out the news report in the video below, and this is from Inside Edition with 13.4 million subs. I guess we can look at it, see what it says.
2 best friends on a hike. Woohoo! When they stumble onto something really spooky. Jesse Clausen and Camille Avarella were taking lots of
Avarella. There you go. I got the pronunciation now.
Escape known as Long's Peaks in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado.
Ooh, I'm going to get a music thing. I got to be careful. So there they are. Let's get to the meat here. Oh, there it is.
Zooming in to the tiny dot.
Whoops.
It was a...
Wait. Don't do that. I want to go back just a little bit and see it as best as we can. There it is. Yeah, I think they're right. Actually, now that I see it like this, it really does look like it's just something catching the sun. But let's see what they say.
Much to their shock, it was a mysterious thing.
I was like,
yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you get? Yeah, that's the Mountain Wizard Moon says. Yeah, I think so too. I just think I think it's somehow captured the light, or maybe it's some weird calcification on the rock or some other mineral deposits. I don't know. But where's the other leg exactly? Because it just kind of becomes part of this, which doesn't really lend itself to there's another leg. This does look like shoulders with an arm maybe bent on this ledge, and maybe this is longer, but this follows that contour perfectly. And there's no motion, so I don't know.
wait, what's that white thing on that little cliff ledge?
We were like, what the hell is that? Should we tell someone? Like, do we call the Rangers? Like, we were just very confused.
It looked like a 20-foot alien.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. And I'll put the link in here if anybody wants to watch the whole video. But it's interesting, but I just think now that you see it in the bigger perspective, it really does look like somehow it's catching light. I mean, this up here is catching light as well. It just might be jutting out enough to be grabbing some of that ambient light coming over the edge. I mean, all of the edges here are showing a lighter area where they're capturing light, and up here. So I think that's probably it. But it is fascinating that it does approximate a humanoid shape, but I just am not so sure. I don't know. Obviously, it's just one image, so I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can check it out, come to your own, conclusions, I guess. But mine is, it's probably not what they think it might be, but who knows? I'm not saying it's impossible. It just seems unlikely. All right. I'm putting the links in the chats, and you guys can check it out for yourself if you want to check it out more. Hey, Truth, how you doing? Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. So there you go. This kind of wraps up our journey into the Paranormal Portal news. And the whole show is news, right? But this is a segment just absolutely diving into specific articles of news. So anyway, hope you found some value in this. Hey, Yoholo. Who's Yoholo? Is that another name popping up in here? I got to catch up with these names if that's, or is that, am I missing it? Smoochy. Is there a Smoochy in here too? Hey, Smoochy. Nice to see you. Not great, but how are you? Missed you. I don't know who Smoochy is. I trust the Paranormal Portal more than Inside Edition. Well, I'm not really an authority on anything, but God bless you, Tommy. I appreciate your faith. Weapon X5 says mountain. Barbara says mountain. Yeah, I don't think it's probably an actual cryptid or anything, but it is. That's the largest white crawler ever. Yeah, no kidding. It wasn't moving. It's just a still image that they managed to go, hey, what's that? And it does approximate a humanoid shape, but when you look at it, there's only one leg, and the other one definitely becomes part of that other striation in the rock face. So I don't think it's what they think it is, but it is interesting all the same. So we'll go with that for now. But that is the presentation of the Paranormal Portal news. Let's get back to the rest of the show. I agree, Truth. John Temperance saying, yep, I am Smoochy. Good to see you, Smoochy. All right, there we go. The rock biter from Neverending Story, yeah. Maybe that would explain it. I don't know. But there you go. Looks like Stretch Armstrong. Yeah, I had one of those. I used to... Oh, never mind. It doesn't sound appropriate for... I didn't do anything rude and debaucherous with it, but I was going to say I used to stretch the hell out of that thing, because I had one when I was little. I'd be like, stretching it as far as I could, and, he'd spring back into shape. It was fun till he cracked and all that goopy crap came out, and then it was no longer fun. So anyway, I had my cousin had a stretch. I really wanted one. Yeah, I had one. Yeah, they're great until they get kind of dry and hard, and because they're like rubber, and as they age, they don't age well, much like me. So there you go. The green goo. Yeah, there was all kinds of goo in those things. It was disgusting when they would bust open. I'm sure it was all full of all kinds of bacteria and goodness. Every kid should have after it's been sitting at room temperature for several years. Yeah, filled with corn syrup, I think. Is that right? I don't know what the hell it was, but it didn't look good whenever it came up. And I didn't sample it when it broke. It was just like, yeah, that's no longer fun. I don't have any more fun with this. So it went in the garbage, along with my childhood, all at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still a kid at heart. So anyway, I don't know. Oh. No, I didn't. Oh. I just got a message from Wes. I didn't see that. I wonder if I should. Let's see what it is. Let me just look quick, if you wouldn't mind. I just want to see what it is. Argentina. That's on Sasquatch Chronicles. Let's take a look. We might have an extension of the news here. Let's take a peek. Sasquatch Chronicles. Is it on the blog or where is it? I'm looking. I don't see it. At least not here. Let me hit the blog on Sasquatch Chronicles and see if we have an extra edition. Something from Argentina. But let's see. Yeah, I don't see it listed here. I'm not sure. I can't. He sent it to my phone, so I can't just pull it up on the computer here. But maybe I'll try to email it to us and we'll check it as we dive into actually the Cryptid Corner. We'll dive into it and see what it's all about. I might be able to. Let me just look and see what it's called. September 6th. Oh, from Unexplained Mysteries. Okay. No, I didn't see this. And it's got, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to see this. I'll have to look for it. But anyway, we'll try to get it up before the end of the show if I can. But until then, we are going to dive into the next segment, which is a fantastic segment. If I do say so myself, it is the culmination of our audience on Discord, and it is the Discord question of the week. And if you're not familiar with it, buckle up because it's a great segment. Here we go. I'm going to get to it now. Here we go. It's time. Hang on. We're going in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discord question of the week. This is our home for all things strange and unusual. This is another extension of the Paranormal Portal experience. Our Discord server, if you're interested or you use Discord, head down to the description and find the link for the Discord. It's literally just discord.gg/paranormalportal if you want to look for it yourself or just do it manually, but the link is in the show description. And I'd love to see you guys over there. But one of the segments that we do, which has been championed by our very own Chucky Danger, who's been a long-time friend of the show, and he's a podcaster himself. Amazingly talented and well-searched man, researched man. Me too, stay that way. Brent, me too, stay that way. Stay what way? What am I doing? Sorry, I'm scattered here. But we ask a question. Chucky asks a question dealing with the paranormal. Could be UFOs, could be ghosts, could be strange phenomena, could be cryptozoology. And it's our chance to hear what you guys think. And I love this segment because you guys have brought some amazing ideas to the table that I may never have even considered. I may have never even thought about them. So fantastically cool. I love this segment. And Chucky, thank you so much for keeping it rolling. You've been doing an amazing job and it really does help. So we're going to dive into the question of the week. On the screen, this is our Discord server. You can see it's right here, and we're going down to questions of the week. And here we go. And this question's actually from the 3rd, but we didn't have a show last weekend. So because I was at a conference. So this is the first time we're revisiting the Discord question of the week. Let's get to it. The question of the week this week from Chucky Danger is, according to the stone tape theory, the surrounding area around people can record energetic moments of people's lives and replay them on a loop in some cases. Some wood and other such materials can hold a fair bit of information, but recently, water has been discovered to hold much more information. Water acts as a liquid crystal, enhancing the memories stored within its structure. Do you think this may be way hauntings are much more frequent and vivid near or on water, especially the ocean? What else may be going on here? That's a huge question. There's several parts to that question, but certainly water has always been considered a very spiritual medium. It's been utilized, obviously, things like holy water, storing a blessing, or moon water, or other things like that are considered very spiritual mediums to protect or to cleanse or whatever. And so, certainly it can hold intentions. There was a great study out of, I think, Japan. A gentleman, one of their scientists, had frozen water samples, droplets or whatever, and filmed the crystallization of them, but treated each with different emotional responses: love, kindness, sorrow, anger, rage, etc. And the actual crystallization structure of the water was very unique depending on which emotion was attributed to that sample as it was freezing. The angry and dark emotions were ugly. The crystalline structure was very ugly and chaotic and had no balance or beauty to it. It was just this amalgamation of disjointed shapes. The love and the kindness and all of the positive emotions were these beautiful crystal mosaics that were formed throughout the use of the recording with those different positive emotions. So certainly water reacts to emotional stimuli in a surprising way. So very interesting. But let's see what you guys had to say. Annie Manul starts out: water isn't consistent with its long-term information because of the water cycle. It goes from ocean to rain to bodies of water and then back again. Or it goes under the Earth's plates and comes out in volcanic eruptions. If it was only water alone, then you'd get some ghosts in clouds and rivers and oceans, regardless of location. A West African ghost would take a hurricane to Texas, but it's not happening. Therefore, it's something else. There's a whole pile of possibilities, but to me, the global water cycle precludes a nonstop ghost recording and presentation because it's all memorized. Maybe there have to be other factors like a high factor of silica in a body of water aiding in locally storing information. Maybe it's because humans have a great need for water. This means that wherever you go, you find most human settlements near drinkable water because we can't go days without it, and there's more people than there's more ghosts. Or maybe because water is a conductor of energy and we humans interact with that too, the water acts as an extension cord, but it's not the generator of the energy. I'm not really sure. However, I don't think it's just H2O. There's something more complex going on that our knowledge hasn't caught up to. Interesting. Very interesting. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit says, completely no idea whatsoever. Fair enough. And it's all, just theory. So the other thing I like to say about this segment is there's no wrong answers. I mean, you can't be wrong because we just don't know. So feel free to put down whatever you think. And even as bizarre out in left field as you want to be, it doesn't matter. We just have no basis for fact checking these things because we just don't know. So there's no wrong answers. Every idea is just as valid as any other. All right, Elastic Machinery comes in next, says water certainly holds memory. It's been tested, and when HIV plus water was diluted by half several times past the moment most other elements are removed, it still held its status and tested positive. Oh. Prayer is shown to affect water as well, which may help to illustrate the power of words and its effect on not only us, but the environment around us. Such praying over a cursed place to erase the horror or disturbance? Excellent question. Yeah, it is. Or rather, as such as praying. Yeah, there's definitely, it seems to be a medium that stores intentions for sure. The Unknown comes in next and says, the idea that water might hold more information and potentially influence hauntings is intriguing. According to the stone tape theory, materials like stone and wood can record and replay past events. If water acting as a liquid crystal can hold and enhance memories, it could indeed affect how and where hauntings are experienced. Water's properties might make it a better medium for storing and releasing these energetic moments, leading to more vivid and frequent hauntings near bodies of water. And additionally, the vastness and depth of oceans might amplify these effects given their significant energy and memory potential. Other factors could include the natural electromagnetic fields around water and how they interact with the environment, potentially contributing to the perceived frequency and intensity of paranormal activity. The combination of environmental, physical, and psychological factors might all play a role in these phenomena. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I don't know what to add to that because it's fascinating. Karen Alberding comes in next and says, I don't know what I feel about this. I think certain elements can hold memories and relay them over and over, but I also feel that only certain people are receptive to receiving these visions per se. I think everyone has the ability, but not everyone has developed a sense of that. And the memories held within water or granite and such may only appear to some. I'm not explaining this well, but I know what I mean. Anyway, that's about the extent of what I can contribute. I haven't really given it a great deal of thought. Yeah, exactly. And, there's certainly merit to that. That's, these events obviously aren't really probably occurring in a physical nature. They're probably occurring in more of a energetic nature, and therefore perhaps some people just couldn't perceive it. They just don't have the faculty or the focus or the training to receive it. I think we all have the capability, as Karen said. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think that there's some people that do and some people that don't. I just think that there's some people that for whatever reason it's more turned on for them than other people. And it might be by virtue of birth. It might be by virtue of bloodline, genetics, any number of things. Because I think there is a physiological element to this that is incumbent on our physical form as well as our spiritual awareness. So I think that's the whole mind, body, spirit thing. There's it's a kind of a trinity of sorts. And you have to be in tuned to, I think, really experience the psychic impressions, perhaps. But maybe not. Maybe they pound through anyway if there's enough environmental energetic factors to push up the intensity to such a degree that it can't be ignored. But just some thoughts, great thoughts. ZX81V2 comes in next, said the movie will begin in five moment, the mindless voice announced. All those unseated will await the next show. We filed slowly and longwardly into the hall. The auditorium was vast and silent. We were seated and the voice continued. The movie you're about to see isn't new. You have seen this entertainment through and through. You've seen your birth, you've seen life, your death, and all the little bits in between. Did you have a good life when you died? Enough to base a movie on. Jim Morrison. Everything is recorded one way or another. Fantastic. Yeah, I didn't know Jim Morrison said all this, but very cool. And lastly, on our question of the week, we got Rachel 101 coming in, which is also Rachel gets it right in the chat. But maybe flowing water has a type of friction upon stone that creates a type of electricity. Batteries seem to drain in haunted areas. Perhaps this friction electricity is endless source of energy that ghosts can feed upon to sustain themselves, power up themselves for haunting activity. Sure. Yeah, there's naturally occurring energetic elements, of course. Tesla was convinced there's an infinite supply of free energy all around us. We just have to figure out how to tap into it. So certainly water and possibly granites with high quartz content is a big factor, or quartz contents and other deposits in and near waterways. Those are basically kind of the key elements, as I understand it, that amplify and can channel spiritual activity or spiritual energies. I don't know. It's all, again, theoretic, but what if? So this has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal Discord question of the week. Thank you to everybody that took the time to answer. We love your input and appreciate you guys taking a moment to share your thoughts. I mean, it's a huge question. It was a huge question, but you guys handled it awesomely. And, I don't know what I could add to any of that. That's just really well thought out, all of you guys. And thanks for your perspectives on it, because, again, we just don't know. But this has been a presentation of the question of the week. Bada boom, baby. There we go. So that's the question of the week. Thank you again, Chucky Danger. Appreciate you, brother. That's awesome. I never in a million years probably would have thought to ask that question. When I was doing the questions of the week, it was like, do you believe in ghosts? It was very, very rudimentary, but Chucky comes in with this like MIT level questions. It's like, oh, well, that's a good one. So thank you, brother. That's amazing. Had to get a drink of water. That water's not going to drink itself after all, so I got to do it. But good job, Chucky. Yes, exactly, Tommy. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it. Hot apple pie. Who's talking about apple pie? Don't do that. I'm on a diet. Don't do that. My mom makes the greatest apple pie in the world. I can't wait till I'm done losing weight. Then I'm just going to be a pig for a while. For here and there. I'm not going to try to ever get big again. But I like food. I've realized I like to eat. That's not probably in my best interest, but why is it that all the stuff that's really crappy for us is the stuff that tastes the greatest? It's like, oh, I'd love some smothered noodles in Alfredo, please. It's like, yeah, there goes the diet for that week. Ice cream. Yeah, ice cream is another one. Root beer floats. I mean, God. Oh, let me just tell you. I made Mexican dumpling casserole. So good. You're not helping, Maggie. You're not helping at all. But it does sound good. It's only a jar of maple syrup. Only if it's a jar of maple syrup. All right. So we have a lot more to get to because there's a lot more show left. So let's get to the next part. What time is it? It's actually the perfect time. For what, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I'm going to pull it up and we're going to get started. And it's going to start right here. All right, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the next segment. And that is this one. You're absolutely right, Annie.
Want.
Yeah, I want. It says want. W-O-N-T, though. I have been found to be left wanting. I'm wanting apple pie now. Thank you very much, Ghost Box. It's W-O-N-T. I got to make sure I understand what that means. I'm going to look it up quick. What is want? It's one's customary behavior in a particular situation, constant as was her want, had paid her life attention, her little attention. Okay. Make or become accustomed, in the habit of doing something accustomed. Yeah, I've got a want for apple pie now, actually. Thank you, Ghostbox. You're not helping either. Yeah, want. But not won't, it's want. Weird, huh? It's like an old term. I'm surprised it's even in there. That's just old. It's kind of like that time we were using the Ghost app on my phone and it was spitting out nothing but ancient Latin. That was creepy. That was a creepy night. I got to admit, I was a little taken back by that. It's recorded on the live stream. You guys can check it out. We were using Spirit Talker and I was just testing it out on the show and it started speaking only in ancient Latin, like the dead language Latin. And I was like, ooh, this is weird. So I never did reach out to the creators. Not that I know that they would answer if I did, but I got to ask them, is that stuff in there? How in the hell did you put in ancient Latin and for what? Yeah, anyway, I don't know, because this is a word database, of course, but whiskey ice cream. I wonder if it'd be, what'd be good is probably ice cream with some screwball. Oof, that'd probably be amazing. That sounds like the kind of stuff that would make you stupid in a hurry. But anyway, good to see everybody. We're going to get to the cryptid corner now, and this is our exploration in the world of cryptozoology. Generally, we do a lot of Bigfoot and other cryptids. I got a few different stories pulled up tonight. I'm not sure what we'll get to, but we're going to try to get to as many as possible. But let's check it out. Yeah, peanut butter whiskey ice cream. Right, Maggie? Huh? I'm telling you, that stuff is just already dangerous all by itself. You add ice cream to that? Pff, it's a train wreck just waiting to happen. All right. Love pizza, love bread, not sweet. Truth loves pizza and bread. I think everybody loves pizza, though. It's kind of kind of a moral imperative, I think, that you have to love it, right? I mean, it's the law, I think. All right, let's get to the cryptids. Find out just what's going on. We're going to start our journey at SasquatchChronicles.com and the blog. And this one comes from September 6th. This is a listener email that was written to Wes, and he posts these on his blog, and I think they're amazing. I love these listener emails, and not all of them are really over-the-top kind of experiences, but they're all experiences. And I think that that's the value of them, is that somebody saw something firsthand and thought that they would, reach out to Wes about it. So I think that that's exceptionally cool because it's a window into what they saw. So let's check it out. September 6th, I don't think I'll be hunting this season. That's such a common denominator with people that are hunters and they've never seen anything like it, but then they have an encounter. And so many people have decided that they're no longer hunting anymore ever because they're confronted with these incredibly huge creatures. And it's got to be, I've never seen one, but I know I've been near one, I believe, but never seen one. But it's got to be about the most emasculating thing that you could ever experience because, we think like for me, as a full-grown man, you kind of feel like, yeah, I can take care of business. I can take care of myself. But then you're confronted with something that's 8, 10, 12 feet tall. And it's like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm just a worm. I'm going to go back into my crib now. It's just got to be so horrifying. But anyway, let's check it out. September 6th, I don't think I'll be hunting this season. A listener writes, I live in southeast Missouri, and I've hunted and been in the woods all my life. My family has a farm that I grew up cutting firewood and working cattle on. In the late fall or early winter of last year, I was bow hunting on some public land, and this land is 1,500 acres and has new growth thickets all over giant hills. Really good deer hunting territory. Well, I found a little pond next to a trail in the thicket, and I decided to sit on a log and just see what might come up or if there might be fish. No fish. I was on the west side of the pond, and to the south, there was a shape, and I wasn't sure how steep at the time. Or a slope, sorry, not a shape. To the south, there was a slope. I wasn't sure how steep at the time. And to the mother was the trail. I don't know what that means. And to the mother was a trail. Just before the slope, there were 2 tree roots that had fallen in a storm we had a while back. Well, I saw something just past one of these root wads. I didn't know what it was. I had heard a twig break and saw something headed away and down out of sight behind the root wad. I couldn't place what it was. I thought maybe a turkey because it had ruffles like feathers, but it was the color of a light-colored raccoon or a deer in summer. I didn't see a tail, so I didn't think it was a raccoon or deer or anything. The other thing was that as it went away, it was going left to right like a man walks or a turkey runs when you see its back. Excuse me. This Sunday afternoon, I took a friend to this spot, and we were looking for a spot to possibly hunt, and I showed him this spot. Walking up there, he stopped me and asked if I heard somebody talking. Well, I couldn't. The direction he heard the voices from were downhill toward more woods and away from any of the nearest homes. When we got to the spot, I made him stand by the roots, and they were waist high on him, and he had told me they drop off a lot. I walked over to the slope, and it was about a 6 foot below the top of the wad. Well, after telling him this story, he didn't want to hunt this property, and I can't blame him. I don't know what I saw, but now I get creeped out when I go to this part of that property. I don't think I'll be hunting there this season. Fair enough. That guy says probably a smart choice, Dana B. Might be a woman, might be a guy. I don't know, but it's Dana B. Interesting story. Yeah, I think that could change your hunting plans in a hurry. All right, let's go to the next one. Also from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And this one will be the last one, unless I can pull up this one that Wes sent me. But let's check this out. This is from September 5th. It was standing right in front of me about 50 yards. A listener writes, I wanted to share with you my encounter. Bartow County, Georgia, on November 30th, 2017, in findings that around my property on December 9th, 2017. What happened to me on the 30th in November completely changed my life. It terrified me to no end and has kept me from going into the woods to do my absolute favorite hobby, which is whitetail deer hunting and turkey honey. Turkey honey? I think they meant hunting. He likes turkey hunting. Honey. Little backstory on me. In 2003, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. 0311 Rifle Infantry. Served 8 years in that role with 3 combat deployments, 2 in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. Wow, that guy's been out there. November 30th started out like any other day. I had off from my manufacturing job, and I decided I wanted to go hike. Some old logging trails that I had hiked several times prior in the past of living on my property. The trails were approximately, there's a period there, but it's 500 yards away from my front door. And you had to go down a ravine through a pine thicket to get to the start of the logging roads. About a half mile into my hike, there was a little off trail that I decided to investigate that I hadn't investigated before or prior to this date. I decided to go down there because I detected the smell of something dead. I wanted to see what it was when I got down there. Well, there was a shredded deer carcass that was hanging about 6.5 to 7 foot up and a small pine tree over a couple of branches. Thinking that a hunter must have killed it, I started looking for a gut pile. I started looking for signs of a hunter. I didn't see any. And what was strange about the deer carcass was the legs had clearly been snapped, and there was no head. Upon closer examination of the body, I realized that this was a buck. Surely a hunter would have shot the deer. And even though I couldn't find any bullet wounds, I couldn't find any arrowhead wounds that killed the deer, skinned it out, took the heads. It's written pretty funky, but I'm doing my best here. I continued on my trip about another couple hundred yards down the trail, and I decided to set and get a drink of water, eat a protein bar, just because, well, it was still warm that time of year. It was a particularly warm fall. I remember sitting down and hearing some rustling behind me. I turned around and looked, not seeing anything, thinking it just must have been a squirrel going down the trails or the roads. I started noticing odd things right. Saw a small pine tree that had been snapped in half, pine trees that were bent over, and found what looked to be something like a makeshift bed, something built out of basically briar patches, and other things that you normally wouldn't see an animal make a bed out of at this point. I'm starting to get a little uneasy feeling. I don't know what gave me the uneasy feeling. I decided to turn around and just head back home. Well, on my journey back, when I got to the entrance of the little clearing where I found the deer carcass, I decided I wanted to go see it one last time and get some pictures of things that I'd been seeing upon coming out of the little clearing to get back home. You turn left to go home here. You take a right, continue down the trails. Well, since I was heading home, I took an immediate left, and I was in a hurry, if you will. Well, it was at this point that I heard the loudest scream. It was so deep that it literally shook me down to my core. I was frozen in my tracks. Now, that day I was carrying a Springfield Armory M1 M14 patterned rifle chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO 308 Winchester. And it's a rifle that I've owned for many years that I'm comfortable with. And I'd carried a modern version of that rifle In my time with Marine Corps serving as a designated rifleman, I turned around and that's when the most nightmarish thing I could have ever imagined were standing right in front of me about 50 yards. The way it was standing was in a posture kind of bent over, chest puffed out, what I'd like to call an aggressive stance. It stood about 7 feet tall, shoulders were probably 3.5 feet wide. I drew my weapon, pointing my rifle at it, and took it off the safety, and started shouting warnings at it, basically screaming at it. If you take a step, I will kill you. I started to think that this was just some kind of joke. You better let me know right now because I'm going to kill you. Because at this point in time, I was still thinking this has got to be a man in a suit. This has got to be a joke. Someone trying to just scare people here, because it was also the fall when people were dressing up as clowns or what had you, trying to scare people when it didn't respond and it was just standing there. I made the realization that this wasn't a joke. This wasn't a person, that this was a living, breathing, flesh and blood creature. But still was not completely sure that it wasn't someone just trying to screw with me. I fired one round, the right side of its head. The round probably passed within 6 inches of its head. So at looking at it, it would have been to my right, its left. After firing that round, this thing took off at a speed that was just completely not natural. It's like it was standing there 1 minute and then poof, gone. Well, thinking, well, now it's my time to get the hell out of here. I took off running back home, and upon getting home, ran inside, locked the door, went upstairs, went to my master bathroom, and just locked myself in there because at that point, I don't know what it was, but some sort of emotion just hit me, and I just couldn't stop crying. My wife came up to check on me, and of course my stepdaughter was home, so were my 3 children were there for visitation, and I knew I just had to snap out of it. Telling my wife about what happened, she just started laughing. Seriously, she laughed at you? Jeez. And said that I just had to see a bear, or it was just someone messing with me. And of course, we talked within bedroom with the door shut so that our 4 children would not hear, because the last thing I didn't want was any of my 4 children, especially my 2 boys, heading off into the woods and trying to find this thing. I did contact, I don't know what that means. I did contact, I believe his name was David from the Expedition Bigfoot Museum, located in Blue Ridge, Georgia. David contacted me, came down the next day, and I reluctantly went down the trails with him. I showed him where everything was and went where the incident took place, and he started questioning me about the creature. It was kind of like a memory block just came over me. There was certain things I could remember of the incident, certain things I couldn't, and I think he completely lost interest when he was showing me pictures, different body styles, and I guess of what people have reported this thing to look like. And I flat out told him that none of these are. It's because everything he was showing me looked like a gorilla. And that's not what I saw. What I saw was, it looked like a 7-foot version of us, except more hair cover, more primitive, looking in the face, and the skull wasn't pointed like you hear people report. It was rounded like ours. But the face was definitely more caveman. In the eyebrows, body was lean and very fit, but not like Arnold or a bodybuilder, more like a very trim but muscular athlete. Like I would say that's just when he said he would be in contact, and I never heard back from him again. Now, as for December 9th, we had a massive snowstorm come through, and after a few days of being, I'm stuck in the house because the property is set up on a hill. If it snowed or iced, you weren't getting out. I decided to grab my rifle, I think he means rifle, and just go walk in the woods close to the house, but far enough in the ravine where there was an old ladder stand and possibly harvest a deer. Now, as soon as I got about 10 yards in the woods directly in front of my home, there were massive sized tracks in the snow. I put my foot up next to the tracks, and of course, I'm not a large man. I wear about a size 9.5 boot, and these tracks just swallowed my foot. I did follow them for a couple hundred yards, and they went down the ravine to the very bottom, where there were 2 overhanging rock formations for about 50 to 80 yards in length. Now, to me, something in my brain told me, this is a trap. This is a horrible idea. If I was going to set up an ambush, this is where I'd be. Now, is that what it was? Probably not. I'm pretty sure this thing had no idea that I was going to go into the woods that day. So I decided, well, that's enough. I'm heading back home with no further incident now. For the next couple of weeks after the storm, you'd hear strange howls coming from the woods across the street. There was never any of my personal animals, like my dogs, come up missing. I think the neighbor said he had a dog come up missing, and I had another neighbor have some cats and chickens come up missing. And what really scared me, what kind of made it where I no longer left my kids ride their bikes up and down the street, was my oldest son, who was 12, we're 13 at the time, was riding his bike. I don't know, it was 12 or 13, maybe that's what he's saying. I don't know. Riding his bike, and luckily he came back home when it happened, because I guess it startled him. He said he heard my voice calling his name from the woods, and he knew that I wasn't in the woods. I, who was at the house resting to go into work that night. But that was the last, what I would call, incident on that property. Now, I did sell the home 2 years later and haven't been back since. I still am not comfortable at all about telling this story. I've never even spoken to this to my father, who I'm very close with. I've not shared this with any of my coworkers or my closest friends. I never even told my mom about it, and the reason is I don't want to be labeled as some lunatic. Yeah, that is crazy. The whole mimicking thing is very strange, but I know that some First Nations legends say that they are the ventriloquists of the forest. Like, they will mimic or copy voices surprisingly well in a lot of cases. So that's crazy. I think back to the mountain biker that went off ahead of his friends, got hit with infrasound and got disoriented and hot. His friends found him struggling to take his clothes off. Yeah, that was in that creek bed. He was apparently coming down that mountain, and he got zapped with something, and suddenly he was not in his right mind and was taking off his stuff. You're right, Chuck. Yeah, I remember that story. Apparently he was a racer. Like, they were just doing it wasn't a race at the time, but they were just practicing or whatever. And he was a professional mountain biker, and he got way ahead of everyone else and hit this creek bed. And it was like, boom, he was just gone. He remembers his friends like grabbing him and trying to wake him up. And he found himself standing there with most of his clothes off. Yeah. Yeah. So very, very crazy. I remember that story. Yeah, that was a Lulu for sure. Very crazy. So that's it for the Sasquatch Chronicles parts of the night. I wish I was able to pull up this other thing that Wes sent, but if I can, I'll probably just put it on social media for you guys to check out. I don't know. I'd have to email it to myself and be ready for it that way. But anyway, let's get to some phantoms and monsters, ladies and gentlemen. So not only is Sasquatch Chronicles blog amazing, and I hope you guys check it out and support what Wes is doing over there, because he's constantly updating and keeping that current with lots of great material from several different shows, as well as his own, as well as interesting things he pulls up. And of course, the listener emails. I mean, there's such a back catalog to the blog. You can go back for years and years and find stuff all over the place. It's really incredibly comprehensive. But there's also phantomsandmonsters.com, which is hosted by our friend Mr. Lon Strickler, who has been a pillar in this community for a long time and does an incredible job. And if you're not familiar with phantomsandmonsters.com, it's a great location to check out a lot of claims and reports of people having with several different types of phenomena. Could be UFO, could be Fortean, cryptozoology, could be ghostly stuff, or even strange phenomena. Lon covers the whole spectrum as well. So it's a great repository if you're ever looking for some interesting stories. And you can search there and find stories on pretty much anything in the paranormal umbrella or supernatural umbrellas. So it's also a great location to find Lon's published works. You can find his listings there and links to his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And remember, he's got a YouTube channel and does live shows, I think every Friday night at 6 Pacific time is when he starts. So definitely should check that out because Lon covers a lot of this stuff there. And you get it from him directly. That's pretty amazing. So let's get into the first one. This is a Bigfoot report. This is coming from August 6th of this year. And this again, ladies and gentlemen, oops, forgot to turn that off. Phantomsandmonsters.com. The pulse of the paranormal. Here we go. Let's check it out. I received a telephone call from RA about 2 Bigfoot encounters, and this one's called Arkansas Residents Observe Reddish-Haired Biped Hear Shrill Screams. I think those are the most common types of encounters, is people hearing the Bigfoot. Not so many visual sightings, but there's a lot out there. There's quite a few visual sightings as well, but let's check this out. The incidents took place in Charleston, Arkansas, in Franklin County. She'd walked out onto her back porch while drinking a cup of coffee, and just before she was ready to leave for work, she was watching 2 deer and a red fox in the field. Standing there, she noticed movements in the tall brush about 70 yards away, and she witnessed a 6.5 to 7 foot tall, reddish-haired biped step back into the brush. R.A. said that it blended so well with the brush that she only noticed it when it moved. She was sure that it was a Bigfoot. She was quite alarmed and nervous to the point where she asked her neighbor to drive her to work. A few days previous, her boyfriend was asleep, R.A. was not home, and was awakened by a high-pitched and sustained scream emanating from behind their house. Well, he quickly got out of bed and looked outside, and he turned on the recorder on his cell phone and recorded several minutes of the screams. Wish we could hear those. After the screams had stopped, he walked downstairs and walked out onto the porch, and he soon noticed a tall biped run to the left of the house towards the street in front of the house. He attempted to get a video, but it was too dark and the quality was poor. He described the scream as more of a shrill, and it had very short interruptions. Other people in the neighborhood also heard the noise. I was able to listen to the recording, but have not been given permission to use it on the blog. The sounds are very similar to other Bigfoot screams I have heard in the past. And that's from Lon. And I guess that's where it is, right next to Ozark National Forest. Interesting. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Look at that. It's like 2 huge national forests. The Wichita National Forest and the Ozark National Forest. Is this Missouri? Arkansas. Okay, Arkansas. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, there you go. I mean, there's no shortage of reports from down in the Arkansas area. Sorry, if you're from Arkansas, I'm just being a clown. So let's get to the next one. That was a good first story. Again, a lot of Bigfoot encounters aren't really, so Hollywood. They're just presences. But it's got to be just incredibly disconcerting to know that they could be just around your house and watching, and then if you got pets or small kids, I mean, do you ever let them outside? Just, I don't know if I would. That's crazy. Nope, you're staying inside. Poop on the floor. That's it. Thanks, Brent. Excellent show. Sorry I had to leave early. Take care. Well, take care. Thank you, Maggie, for being here. Ozark Booger, you got it, SoCal. Of course, it's by a national forest. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of those are definitely hot spots for Bigfoot. There's some people that I guess have come to the belief that the national parks were set up to give these things safe living, I guess. I don't know. That these nature reserves are set up as preservations or preserves potentially for Bigfoot. I don't know. Is there merit to that? Maybe. I don't know. It's not something I'm familiar with. But here we go. Sasquatch speaks to hunter. No danger. So these claims come up every once in a while that perhaps Bigfoot has an understanding of our language. Now it might just be a mimic, like they know that we make certain sounds, and so they make those sounds just to try to fool us or whatever. But I've heard claims, as strange as those claims are, that sometimes it seems as if they have understanding, at least rudimentarily, of our language. And is that possible? Well, why not? One of my favorite stories about that comes from Linda Godfrey, and I've shared it on the show many times. So I'm sorry if this is redundant to our regulars here, but she told a story when I interviewed her. She lived in Kettle Moraine area of Wisconsin, and basically Kettle Moraine, so the houses are up on a like a almost like a plateau or a field, but there's these kettles, these depressions that are all forested. And so that's what the Kettle Moraine area is like. There's these, I don't know, just indentations in the ground that are these heavily forested areas. I've never been there, but that's my depiction of it as she explained it. So she said that her house and her neighbors' houses were right on the edge of one of these kettles. And there was deep forest down below. She'd seen signs of Bigfoot around there, even had her grandchild saw one run right past her house once, and she told me about that. It's like, wow, that's really close to home. You know what I mean? It's right outside the house. I guess it just ran right by the house, and her grandson was just beside himself. And so she knows they're around. They were around there or are around there. Of course, unfortunately, Linda passed away. She was just an amazing person. Still to this day, she's probably my top 3 interviews I've ever done was talking to Linda Godfrey. She was just so incredible. I just love that woman. But she tells a story about her neighbor who in the summertime would sit out on her porch and answer her phone, have loud conversations out on her porch, but the way she'd answer her phone was always the same. She'd answer the phone, oh, hello, hello, hello. That was how she answered every phone call. And Linda always thought that was kind of comical, but she said one morning she went out on her porch and her neighbor was out or gone or whatever. But she was out on her porch just sitting there. And from down in the forested kettle, she heard, oh, hello, hello, hello. This really deep voice saying, mimicking that, oh, hello, hello, hello. And I think that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's just so cool. And is it an attempt to communicate that it knew she was out there and was maybe just trying to greet her in some fashion, or was it just whatever? But it's just such a neat story. So there seems to be at least pretty credible reporting that they mimic. Now the question is, do they understand the language? Some people think they do. I think it's very possible. I mean, if you spend enough time around and observing, which these things clearly do, you're going to pick up things. You're going to start to put sounds with meaning together over time. In fact, they say the greatest way to learn a language is called immersion. You go to the country that uses the language you want to learn and just dump yourself off and just be around it, and you'll pick it up. So I'm sure that that's true. They have better than ape language abilities, but not quite ours. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, who can tell? Perhaps there's First Nation tribes that have legendary histories or at least oral stories of them trading with Bigfoot. Now, was there no language involved at all? I kind of think there must have been some language involved when they were trading this for that or that for this and coming up with equitable terms. I mean, they must have had some kind of language, or at least the ability to share information. So I think that's pretty amazing. Actually, Neanderthals are, it's just emerging now that more and more discoveries are happening, and Neanderthals were incredibly sophisticated. They were not these knuckle-dragging, cave-dwelling tribes of people. That they had an incredible amount of sophistication right alongside of humans. And, of course, there's obviously interbreeding in there because a lot of European descendants have Neanderthal DNA. So, obviously, there was communication going on there. But yeah, oftentimes we think of Neanderthals and we think of these just really archaic, very basic kind of functioning hominins. But they apparently had a lot of culture. They had art. They had so much more than they've been given credit for. And I think we have a lot more to learn about it. But anyway, can Sasquatch speak? Let's get to the story and see what it says. Two brothers were hunting in Mendocino County, California, when they heard a nearby scream. The witness encounters a Sasquatch who mouths the words, "No danger," to his amazement. Well, this story is a very personal one and a very long one, so I appreciate the time you're going to take to read this. How much time do we have? Yeah, we're okay. I'll be able to read it. We might go over time, but that's okay. He said it's a long one. It's like, how long? Is this a 45-minute story? But let's check it out. So I appreciate the time it's going to take for you to read this. Just to be clear, this story you're about to read is 100% real. It happened to me, and I remember it like it was yesterday, but it actually happened over 3 decades ago. I was born on July 14th, 1958, so at the time of this tale, I was 33 years old, and it happened on August 28th. My dad would always take me and my brother Jeremiah hunting and fishing, so that custom stayed with me forever. That day, August 28th, 1991, I was hunting in Jackson Demonstration State Forest in Mendocino County, California, with my brother Jeremiah. It was a little bit difficult to pattern the deer because of the water. The area is extremely thick with lots of young growth. 2 hours had passed and we only had 4 rabbits in our hunt, so we started to think about getting out there, but we stayed for 1 more hour just to make it worth our while. When we finally agreed that it was time to go, we heard something coming from behind us. It was a loud scream. Not a human scream, an animal scream. But it wasn't of any animal we've ever heard before, so we decided to go back and look for the source of those screams. Well, as we approached the site, we noticed that there was nothing there. We started to search the area, but as we were doing that, I felt the presence of someone, and I instantly felt observed. I turned around looking for someone or something, and I found something in the distance, hiding behind some trees. I didn't call my brother, as I felt it was nothing important, but when I almost reached the trees, I saw a heavily hairy man running across. I grabbed my .22 rifle and followed the footprints left by the hairy man. After some 3 minutes of following, I finally caught the thing that left those enormous footprints. He was like 30 feet away from me. I hid as best as I could, and he didn't see me, but he certainly heard me because he looked around and started making some weird noises, as if he was trying to communicate. Well, I wasn't sure if I should step away from my hiding spot and make contact with this beast, but I finally decided to do so. I stood up and pointed my rifle towards him, slowly approaching till I was just 15 feet away, looking at him. I noticed he was at like 8 to 9 feet tall. This guy's only got a .22 and he's coming up to an 8 or 9 foot tall thing. Man, he's got balls of steel. He had a reddish hair that covered him almost completely. Just part of his face and hands had no hair. I also noticed he had some white hairs in his torso. He just looked at me and stood there making weird noises, but suddenly he mouthed the words, "No danger," very slowly, almost unintelligible, and pointed at himself. At this time, I lowered my rifle and kept looking at him. The nervous expression on his face had disappeared, and he started walking deep into the forest. I turned around and started looking for my brother, still shocked. When I found him, he was very worried. I told him what happened, and he told me that he saw one too. A female Sasquatch with her baby in her hands. I'm not sure, but it was very possible that the Sasquatch I found was the mate of the one my brother found, and the little baby Sasquatch was their brood. We were making our way back to the road, and I looked back, and I swear I saw him in the distance, observing us as we were leaving. We never talked about this to anyone, but my brother contacted me recently with another story of Sasquatch that I may share with you at some other time. And because of that and this story, I became very intrigued about this subject, so I thought I'd share this story with some people. And here are some other things about the Sasquatch I encountered that I remember. He had reddish hair and white hairs on his torso. He had a deep voice, but was capable of screaming very high. His footprints were like 18 inches long and 9 or 10 inches wide. He also had very big hands, but looked very similar to those of a human, just more hairy. He had hair in his face that formed some kind of beard, and he also had some hair on his forehead, but his skin was more or less light-colored, with a wide nose and wide lips. He looked like a hybrid human and ape, almost like a Homo erectus or a Neanderthal. He looked very muscular. He could not stand completely straight long. He had somewhat clumsy way of walking, but he certainly ran pretty fast. He had some kind of language, but that was reminiscent of human languages. He knew some words of the English language, and he was a peaceful being. That's really a cool story. Again, we have to take his word for it, but I mean, that's what I like to picture these things as, is, they're just doing their thing, and they avoid us for maybe any number of obvious reasons, but maybe they don't mean any harm. They're just trying to live, and that they don't want conflict. They don't want problems. Now, I think there's some out there that can be real dicks, but, there's plenty of those stories around too. But who knows how they've been provoked in the past by other people? Who knows? Maybe they've just come to hate people. And I can think of a number of reasons why that could be the case, because people just don't have a lot of grace in a lot of cases. Like, what's that? I don't know. Let's shoot it. That mentality is just, it's embarrassing, to be honest with you. It's like you don't ever pull the trigger if you don't know what you're doing, what you're shooting at. You just don't do it unless it's coming at you and you don't have any other choice. I can't blame you then, because how are you going to know? But if it's just standing there and you're just standing there and there's no aggressive actions, yeah, the guy lowered the rifle, and the according to his narrative, the concerned expression on his face lightened, and it's like, that's cool. That's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. The pointing gesture, lips speaking the English words, who taught him no danger? Well, how do we know how much experience this guy had watching people? Again, you'll pick up words if you're around enough people speaking another language, just by observing. And so maybe it learned what danger meant somehow. I don't know. That is curious. I don't know. Maybe they do have a basic understanding of our language. Again, there's no shortage of tales from people and experiences of them coming real close and just watching. I'm sure we're entertaining as hell to them, because everything about us is so foreign to them. How we live, the things we do and use, the smells that we have and use and our foods and so many things are just, they got to be just like, we're from Mars to them. So they're probably just watching like, what is it with these things? So it's cool. Oh, man, just got here. Casey Jones Astrology. Well, I'm glad you got here. Unfortunately, you came at the end, but I hope you watched the whole thing. You can always back up and watch it from the beginning. Telepathic, that's a good idea, Chucky. Maybe, with the mind speak thing, maybe they do have the ability to learn our language if there is such things as mind speak. That's pretty crazy. Good point, though. Good point. Well, I tell you what, that's our journey for tonight. It's 8:52. We got a few minutes, but that's going to be the journey. So I don't know. Do they have language? Do they have our language? I think it's possible. I mean, we've been speaking English here for hundreds of years. So could they have learned? Could they have seen enough to learn a rudimentary form of English? Sure. Why not? No. I mean, that's not a big leap. If they are intelligent, and we believe they are, that maybe they're not people intelligent, but they're extraordinarily intelligent. I mean, a 3-year-old can speak hundreds and hundreds of words. So why wouldn't a Bigfoot be able to pick up what a 3-year-old could pick up? Or even a 2-year-old, depending on your kid, how precocious it is. But it's not, the language is something that small children can pick up in a hurry. So maybe it's very much the same thing. Humans can be quite mystical with practice. Who says Sasquatch can't be psychic too? Yeah. I mean, I don't pretend to know what they're capable of. I've certainly heard a whole spectrum of claims through the years. I don't know that I understand a lot of it, but I don't presume to be able to say, oh, that's a bunch of crap. They're just apes. No, I don't think that. I think there's something incredibly unique. Hey, Blue Crew, is good to see you. But whatever they are, they've been watching us for a very long time, and it stands to reason to me that they could have a lot of what we do kind of sorted out, at least to some degree. But yeah, just my take. But I like that story, though. I really do. I thought that was excellent. Very cool story. Again, from phantomsandmonsters.com, so check it out. You'll find a ton more over there. I got several more that I wanted to get to tonight, but it's not going to happen, so I'll save them for Wednesday. And we'll dive back into the portal for another live stream on Wednesday nights, because we do these live streams Wednesday night, Friday night, and Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're available, come back and watch it. It's always 7 p.m. though, Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So sort it out for your own time zone, but that's when they happen. So love for you to be here. If you can be, apes can have lots of abilities. Yeah, they sure can. I think, if you even look into the cultural nature of like chimpanzees and how complex their social groups are, it's very, very surprisingly human. So I think we underestimate the animal world around us quite a bit because we don't take the time to really learn. And, just saying. So I don't know. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for joining me and being a part of the journey. Appreciate it if you follow me on all the social medias, and especially if you got Twitter, X, or Instagram. Follow me there. I'm trying to build up those followings. I'm terrible at it. TikTok too. If you're on TikTok, look for me there. I think it's always Paranormal Portal, Portal. On Twitter, it's Paranormal Portl, because I couldn't get the A to fit. So it was going to be Paranormal Porta or Portal with no A. So check it out, though. I'd love for you guys to support us there, and keep an eye out for the podcast, which will be coming out Monday. Again, that'll be a discussion I had with Jason Trost and Tommy Cooper of Cryptovania. We're going to be diving into it then, but I just want you guys to know I love you all, and I mean it. So I'm just going to hopefully leave you with this thought, what I leave you with every episode. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I will be back on Wednesday night for another journey into the throes of the paranormal portal. So I hope you'll join me then. Spread the word. Let other people know. I need all the help we can get to keep this thing growing. So I need you. I need you. All right, guys, that's it for me. That's all I got. Have a great night. And hopefully we'll see you Wednesday. Until then, take care.